Right, welcome back everybody. Today we're working on the Vauxhall Vivaro. We're doing a bit of maintenance today. We're not actually doing any conversions on the van today. What we're actually doing is, you may have remembered in a previous video that I mentioned I've got a leaking shock absorber on the passenger side. So we've got a pair of shock absorbers today, and I've also had a bit of a clonking noise as well coming from the driver's side as well. And it just went for its MOT a couple of days ago, and I knew this was clonking, so I was hoping that the MOT tester would pick something up on it, and he did, so that was good news. So we got a couple of top mounts as well, so while we're going to be doing the shock absorbers, we're going to be doing the top mounts as well. It makes sense, we'll be doing both sides. So it has got a 12 months MOT on it now. I say it did get advised on the top mount on the driver's side and a couple of tyres as well, so it will be going in for a couple of tyres tomorrow as well. It is Wednesday, I think it's the 22nd today of December, so I need to get this job done today so we can get the tyres done before the garage shut for Christmas, and then they'll have a clean bill of health then. So let me take you around and have a look what I've done so far. So all I've done is I've jacked the van up and got both front wheels off, as you can see there, and we are sitting on 2 axle stands and the trolley jack as well for support under there, and also just chuck your wheels under just in case of anything does happen. So it's fairly a straightforward job this. You've got 2 bolts here for the bottom of the shock absorber. You have to undo your drop link, just the top bolt on that, and just remove your brake line out of the holder there as well. So that's all there is to undo under here. So 2 bolts, 1 nut there, and your brake line, and that should float away there with your hub coming away from it. And then you just come under your engine bay, and at the very back there, I don't know if you can see that nut at the top there is a 21mm, and I did put my spanner on it just to see how tight they were, and they were literally hand tight. So that could have been one of the reasons for the knocking sound if it was just come loose. But I say we've got the new top mounts now, so I'm going to put the new ones in, and we'll have a assess of them when we come and get that out. And look who's come out. Look, Sop is here.
I'm not here to do any work because I'm not well.
He's on the sick note again.
I'm here to supervise, make sure everything's done correctly, and to say happy Christmas to you all. Thank you very much indeed.
Right, so welcome back guys, and I've actually done the driver's side off a camera. I wanted to bring you in and show you me doing the passenger side. That was one with a leaking shock absorber, so I'll just show you what I found now on the driver's side. So we've got the old shock here, and it is knackered as well, to be honest with you. There's only there's not a lot of rebound back in that. You have to hold it and let the weight of the shock take itself back out, so that is on its way out as well. But this was the bearing, and I don't know if you can see, it wasn't actually attached to the rubber top mount, it was floating. So, but yeah, it's as you can see there, it's actually the outer case, the casing's all come apart, it's all cracked, it's just full of crap in there, and all the bearing grease is just basically gone. So that's what our knocking was, and the bearings weren't actually sitting in the race where they should be properly in there. So that was going to be our knocking noise. So I'm glad that's sorted. I'm going to take you now, show you what I've done, and actually I did get Soppy to get his hands dirty as well. As you can see now, we've got the new leg in there, all buttoned back up, both bolts are in there. We've got the brake line back in its housing there, and we've also put the drop link back on. As you can see, the spring on it is really good. It don't look very old, that spring, to be honest with you. So right up there, you can't see much, it's a bit dark up there, but the bearing is in the top mount now where it should be, and hopefully we shouldn't get no more clonking while we're driving. And just coming in the back there, we've put the cap back on now on that top nut just to protect that from the weather, although it don't get much crap up there. So as you can see, we've got the other top mount there. Again, that was loose as well, so I'm not sure if there is a specific tightness on them, but I say that it was just hand tight them. So what we're going to do is we're going to crack these 2 nuts off with the breaker bar, and then I'm just using the old rattle gun just to wind them off. You've got a 17mm there on that one, and these 2 are 21mm, and then you just pull your brake line out of your housing like that, just to protect it so you don't pull on it when you're moving your shock. So we'll leave the top nut done up at the minute. We'll get these two cracked off, get that one cracked off, and then we'll undo it from the top. Right then, so I've just put a light in there. I don't know how much you can see, but it's the best I can get you at the minute, I'm afraid. So you probably will want a breaker bar for starting these off. So just get them cracked off like that. And just keep an eye out that your nuts don't spin on the other side. They shouldn't do, because the actual nut has like teeth splines going through, so you shouldn't have an issue with it spinning. So let me just get the old rattle gun now, and we'll see if we've got that enough there. Yeah. Right, so I'm just going to get me 17mm now, and hopefully this nut doesn't spin. There we go, that worked out well. So you can just push your drop link out the way now. And again, I only replaced them about 3 months ago, I think, them, so they're pretty new. You know, the last video we done the track rod ends on this, so they're only a week old them. What I would advise, just wind your nuts just back on the end there, and then just get yourself a mallet and just tap them through. There we go. And I say, they are on splines them, so just bear that in mind. And you just want to drift them bolts through. And let me show you there, look. As you can see, you've got the splines on there, so that stops this bolt from spinning when you do try and undo them. So I'm just going to drift that one out again. There we go. And what I tend to have is just down here, I just have a little bottle jack there, just supporting that hub and disc, taking the weight of it. So that is free now. So I'm just going to go up top, undo that nut, and I'll be back with you. Right then folks, so this is the old shock now, and this is the one that's been leaking. So I did actually give that a clean when I'd done the track rod ends before the MOT, so it didn't actually get picked up on MOT. It's because I say I did clean all the oil and everything off of it, so that was a little cheat there for me, but I knew this was getting changed this week, so wasn't too bothered. So what we're going to use now is our spring compressors, and this is a very dangerous piece of equipment doing this, so if you're not too sure about what you're doing, do get this done by a professional, because I say this could end not very well if you don't know what you're doing. I've done a few of these now, so I mean, it's not my favourite job, but I am confident in doing it. So I'm just going to wind that on now. Just to take the bite of it. Don't ever stand over these, because if these did give way, they'd do a lot of damage. So just please bear that in mind. Don't look over the top of this spring. See, I've always got it facing away from me. And again, just wind this one in. Right then folks, so we've got enough tension on that now. That spring is loose in there, so we're just going to get our 21mm spanner just to crack this top nut off. And this, say, you don't want to be undoing this without this compressed, because that is what's holding this spring compressed. So do not undo this if you haven't got this spring compressed. Right, so I need to hold back on the middle there because the middle shaft's turning. And again, still remember not to look over the top of this, because they can let go at any time, them things. Right, so here we go. So we can take that off. Again, that's the old bearing. Again, it's done what the old one's done. It's give way. It's had its time as a bearing. Been a bearing for too long, that has. So we can take this top hat off now. We're going to be reusing that. And we want this boot cover as well, because we're going to be reusing that as well. So we'll just lift that spring off. We'll just keep that out the back there, out the way. Take that boot off. And there's our leaking one. Look at that, look. That's just floating. Look, there's no oil in that at all now. As you can see by the state of all that, it's knackered. Right then, so as you just saw, we've got the old one now. I've unpackaged the new one. It's identical. Just make sure you check that before you start putting things back together. So put your new boot on, and then what we're going to do for now is go for your spring. As I say, don't look above these springs because they can give way any time. And just make sure your spring hits on that ledge there, just butts up home there, and that's your spring on. So we're going to get our, I'll call it a top hat. Just sit that on first, and again, if you look, the end of your spring wants to butt up to that stop there, so just put it on, and then want to be somewhere like that. And we're going to get our bearing, because we're still using our original mounts that are in the van, because I've inspected them, there's nothing wrong with them. So with your bearing, you want your centre race. When you're building it like this, you want this facing upwards, because once that goes into the van, that's going to sit home in that bit there. And then the one that's in the van, so that will come down and that will just protect that race there. So now we've got our bearing on, we'll stick our sleeve on, and then we're going to go ahead and wind our nut down that's going to keep our spring compressed. So we'll get this nipped up and then we can release the spring again then. So right, so that's the nut done up now, so we can release the tension on these clamps again. And that's them all undone. And then this is what I meant about your spring being located in the right place. So butts up to that ledge there, and as you can see there, it's butted up to that rubber end stop there. So that's ready to go back on the van now, so let's get it fitted. Right, so I'm just going to offer this up now, and just bearing in mind this sits in your rubber top mounting as well, so you just want to keep an eye on that.
And the top mounting has got a flat on it as well, so it can only go on one way.
Yeah.
And there's a flat on that shaft there.
So I'm just going to offer this up now. Let's pull that in.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right.
Let me just get this one pulled. Right, so we've got our top bolt done up tight now. We've got the two 21mm nuts to go back on. I've put the first one back on. I'll just whiz this up with the impact, and then I'll do it up to spec after. And then we'll just get our drop bar in. Again, that's a 17mm. There we go. I've clipped our brake line back on its housing, so I'm just going to go ahead now, tighten them two nuts up, and that is our shock absorber top mounting job sorted. Right then folks, so I'll give you one last look at the job. As you can see, this was our leaking shock side. So I'm really happy now. We've got 2 new shocks on the front, 2 new top mount bearings, 2 new track rod ends, 2 new drop links. So the only thing we haven't changed is the lower ball joint, but that's perfect, they are. I believe it had them done when I just bought the vehicle last year. So all the front end components should see me through a while now. One final look on this side. As you can see, lovely and clean, fresh components, and as you can see, I've given the bodywork a wipe. I always do that when I go into work on a vehicle, not just my own, anybody's vehicle. Always look for clean so they know where you've been, and it's just nice to work on a clean vehicle or parts. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to have a clear round, put all the tools away, get the wheels back on, and hopefully tomorrow, I've already booked in my new tyres just while I was recording this video, so he's definitely going to have them there for me. So 10 o'clock tomorrow, this will have 2 new tyres on it as well. So everything that was advised on the MOT will be done, and it'll have a clean bill of health. So I'm going to leave it here, and until next time, we'll see you about, and a happy Christmas and a happy New Year to you.